Hello, and welcome to Session 3 of our Pediatric Health Education curriculum. In today's session, we will be learning about 3 different topics. First, we will discuss how to read a nutrition label and understand calories. Then, we will talk about nutrients in dairy products such as calcium and vitamin D. And finally, we will end our session today by doing some goal setting. But before we get into the focus of today's session, I want us to do a quick review of my plate from the last session. Using the diagrams on the slide as a guide, write down what you ate yesterday for each meal. Feel free to pause or take a break. Did it fit the My Plate advice of half your plate being fruits and vegetables, a quarter being whole grains, and a quarter being protein? If it didn't, can you see any simple changes you can make so that it fits the My Plate layout? Okay, let's move on to the focus of today's session and start with food labels. The sections of the food label that we will cover today are serving size, calories, nutrients we want to limit, added sugar and fiber, and finally, nutrients that we want to make sure we get enough of. So let's figure out how to read this thing. We want to start by first looking at the servings per container section of the nutrition label. It will always be located at the top of the label. This tells you how many servings you can get from one package. Some containers have one serving, but most have more than one serving per package. Next, let's look at serving size. It is usually located right under servings per container and tells you what amount of nutrients equals one serving of that product. Every nutrient value listed on the label is based on this amount. Now, let's look at number 2 on the food label, calories. A calorie is a unit of energy. Calories in foods come from carbohydrates, protein, and fat. Calories give us energy, meaning we need them to be able to think and be active. It's important that we get enough calories in order to keep us feeling energized throughout the day. However, if we eat more calories than our body needs, we may start to gain unnecessary weight, which puts stress on our body and increases our chances of becoming overweight or obese. Let's look at just how many calories a person may need. These tables help guide us to understand how many calories are recommended based on a few different factors such as age, biological sex, and activity level. When we move our bodies and are engaging in physical activity, we may burn calories. This means that the more activity we do, the more calories that we need. The calorie recommendations shown on this slide are a great starting point, and some people may find it helpful to have an idea of roughly how many calories their child should get. However, remember that every body is different. It's more important to focus on fueling our body with enough of the right nutrients and staying active rather than sticking to the exact number that is listed on the chart. If you are building healthy lifestyle and nutrition habits with your child, you will start to learn what amount of calories feels right for you and your child's body, while making sure to not over or under consume. This section of the nutrition label shows us nutrients that we should limit. Foods with higher calories, saturated fat, salt or sodium, and added sugars tend to be worse for our health. Most importantly, try to avoid any and all trans fat. Too much of these nutrients can lead to inflammation in your body. Inflammation in your body, simply put, means irritation. Too much inflammation in your body is shown to cause chronic disease such as diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. Now, let's look closer at dietary fiber and added sugar. Fiber is a key nutrient because it helps your body with digestion, helps keep you full between meals, as well as helps to lower cholesterol levels. Sugar gives you instant energy, and our brain needs it to be able to think properly. However, eating too much added sugar can be unhealthy, meaning we want to especially limit added sugars and make sure to consume enough fiber throughout our day. A few examples of added sugar are honey, white sugar, brown sugar, and agave. Examples of foods that contain a good amount of fiber are beans, fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. Finally, let's look at this bottom section. When picking what to eat, we want to choose foods that are higher in fiber, vitamins, and minerals. If the number of values are high in this section of the food label, it is an indication that it is a healthy food and beneficial to our health to consume these nutrients. Next time you pick up a snack, check the bottom of the food label to see if it contains a good amount of these nutrients. So where can we find these healthy nutrients? We can find fiber in leafy greens, fruits, and beans, vitamin A in carrots, eggs, dark leafy greens or yellow vegetables, vitamin C in oranges or other citrus fruits, vitamin D in sun exposure, milk, fish, or eggs. We can find calcium in cheese, milk, yogurt, dark green leafy vegetables like broccoli or kale, and beans. We can find iron in red meat, chicken, turkey, fish, and dark leafy greens. Milk is one great way to make sure you are getting essential nutrients, especially for a growing body. Dairy milk is typically high in nutrients such as calcium, vitamin D, and potassium. The percentage of fat in milk and other dairy foods doesn't affect their calcium content. Non-fat, 1%, 2%, or whole all have about the same amount of calcium. However, it is advised for our health to choose low-fat milk such as fat-free or 1% milk, and stay away from milks higher in fat such as whole or 2%. Milks higher in fat can cause unfavorable health outcomes such as raise our unhealthy cholesterol levels and weight gain. In addition, if someone cannot consume dairy milk, there are other ways to get your body these nutrients. Let's look at a little further at the mineral calcium. Let's first talk about what calcium even is. Calcium is a mineral that helps build strong and healthy bones. It helps the body in lots of other ways too. Calcium keeps the nerves and muscles working. It also plays a role in keeping the heart healthy. So where can we find calcium? Calcium is found in foods such as milk, yogurt, hard cheeses like cheddar, or non-dairy options like beans and greens, calcium-fortified tofu, calcium-fortified soy milk, almonds, and sesame seeds. So how much calcium do kids and teens need? Kids need more calcium as they get older to support their growing bones. Kids aged 1 to 3 years old need 700 milligrams of calcium a day. Kids 4 to 8 years old need 1,000 milligrams of calcium a day. Kids and teens 9 to 18 years old need 1,300 milligrams of calcium a day. Let's take a closer look at the importance of vitamin D. Vitamin D is a nutrient that helps the body take in calcium. Remember, that's the mineral that helps build strong and healthy bones. And they do this by the foods that you eat. Together, calcium and vitamin D build bones that are strong. Vitamin D also plays a part in heart health and fighting off harmful infections. So where can we find vitamin D? The sun. Our bodies make vitamin D when our skin is exposed to the sun. However, we do not get all the vitamin D that we need through sun exposure alone. Most of us, both kids and adults, spend lots of time indoors at school and work. It's important to also remember that too much sun exposure without any sort of protection, like sunscreen, hats, or long sleeves, can increase our risk of skin damage or certain types of skin cancer. So where else can we find vitamin D? Very few foods have vitamin D naturally. The foods with the most vitamin D are fish, like salmon or tuna, fish oils, and eggs. But don't worry if you cannot consume those foods. Many companies often add vitamin D to milk, yogurt, baby formula, juice, cereal, mushrooms, and other foods. It is now recommended that all infants and children, including adolescents, have a minimum daily intake of 400 IU of vitamin D. Because getting enough vitamin D can therefore be difficult and supplements are sometimes required, please talk to your child's primary care provider about their vitamin D levels and whether or not supplements are advised. The IU amount will be found on the supplement bottle. We only get one chance to build strong bones when we are kids and teens. Children who get enough calcium start their adult lives with the strongest bones possible. That protects them against bone loss later in life. Young kids and babies need calcium and vitamin D to prevent a disease called rickets. Rickets softens the bones and causes bow legs, stunted growth, and sometimes sore or weak muscles. Not only does vitamin D help to fight off infection, it also helps your body absorb all of the nutrients from calcium when you consume these two nutrients together. Now that you have been introduced to some of the key components of a healthy diet, such as reading a nutrition label and the effects of calcium and vitamin D on the body, we want to work with you to set a goal for your child. Goals help to give us direction and motivation towards changing our behaviors because creating healthy habits can be difficult and takes time. So measuring successes as you go in a step-by-step way can help. Goals are extremely individual, so I will go through some ideas and give you the tools to set your own. The important thing to remember when setting goals is to follow the SMART principle. This means goals should be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. For example, if your child is currently eating very few fruits or vegetables, setting a goal for your child to eat a high amount of fruits and vegetables at every meal is probably unrealistic. We want to work up to that, but it's good to take it in stages so we don't get demotivated. A better goal to start with this example is to maybe aim for your child to consume one meal a day that has one ingredient high in calcium and one ingredient that is high in vitamin D. Here is a list of some other possible goals. Please read through them. Like I said before though, it's important to remember that goals are individual and you have to think about where you are at the moment, where you want to get to, and then set realistic goals that will help to get you there step by step. On this slide is an example of a potential nutrition goal to accomplish with your child. Once you decide on your goal, use this chart to help you think about it in more detail. The more specific you are with exactly what the goal is, when you'll start it, when and how often and where you will do it, and how you will support your child to achieve it, the more likely you are to be successful. These details can be changed as needed. They're just there as a guideline to help you achieve your goal. If you feel like you need to adjust some aspect of your goal as you attempt to achieve it, that is completely okay. It is often helpful to have some sort of tracker to show progress towards your goal. This reminds you of the goal itself and gives you a visual to reinforce the success as you check off the days you have achieved it. This is just one example of a daily tracker to keep on your fridge or somewhere that you would see it every day. Feel free to create your own or make this an activity with your child. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation. If you feel like you would like some more support with nutrition or have any questions at all, please feel free to contact us at the number listed on the screen.